Imagine the quiet corner outside your door becoming a small theater of light. A black finish barrel breathes with water, roots rise like gentle sentinels and hide warm lanterns, and a pale herb wall leans into the breeze, perfumed and alive. By night, bottles glow like little constellations. By day, everything looks tailored, not expensive, just thoughtful. If all you had were a barrel, a branch, and a handful of bottles, how far could this tiny space carry your story? Stay with me and watch scrap turn into something you'll want to come home to. Welcome to Archon Aesthetic Studio, where discarded materials earn a second life as designer-looking garden moments. If ideas like root lanterns, barrel fountains, and tiny herb walls spark your imagination, subscribe and join this weekly series. We drop new small space transformations every week. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Your climate and yard size help me suggest the perfect three-piece kit for your corner. One, mirror black drum fountain with root halo. Beneath a canopy of mild afternoon light, an old steel drum breathes again. Its once industrial skin now wears a mirror black sheen, polished until it gathers clouds and sunlight alike. Around it, weathered roots form a gentle halo, their curves tracing stories of years spent underground. The water rises and falls in quiet rhythm. No rush, no hurry, just the steady heartbeat of renewal. Each droplet mirrors the garden's pulse. The hum of bees, the rustle of leaves, the low whisper of wind sliding through branches. The fountain does not shout beauty. It hums it softly, the way memory hums in a quiet mind. It reminds us that even forgotten things, metal barrels, twisted roots, can hold elegance when met with care and patience. At dusk, the fountain begins to glow. Warm light slides over the black enamel, water turns to liquid amber, and the root halo becomes a crown of shadow and shine. It's a moment suspended, half nature, half craft, completely at peace. And as the night folds in, this small fountain stands as proof. Transformation need not be grand to feel profound. Now, let's move deeper into the garden, where light itself begins to take shape. Two, Root-Armature path lanterns. Along the narrow path where footsteps hush against gravel, the lanterns begin to wake. Each one is born from a root, gnarled, patient, and strong, its hand-shaped limbs lifting a small sphere of light. By day, they look sculptural, like nature paused mid-dance. By night, they breathe warmth into the dark, turning a quiet walkway into a living corridor of glow and wood. The light is soft, never sharp. It falls like candle flame over moss and pebble, finds the silver on each leaf, and spills gently into the soil. You can almost hear it hum, a low song between earth and air. These roots once pulled life from underground. Now they share it back as light. There's something poetic about the reversal. What once belonged to shadow now guides the way. Each lantern is a small act of gratitude, for the ground that held it, for the hands that lifted it, for the evening that needs no electricity to feel alive. Walk slowly here. The path glows not to hurry you, but to remind you that even in darkness, there is design, and in every discarded branch, a chance to shine. Up ahead, the walls begin to bloom. Herbs and paint find new rhythm in steel. Three, drum-cut vertical herb wall. Against a wooden fence, sunlight paints soft patterns of gold and shadow. Here, what was once an oil drum now holds life again, a wall reborn into fragrance and green. Lime wash softens the steel to a chalky calm, while hand-stenciled words, mint, basil, thyme, speak in quiet tones of renewal. Each cut drum becomes a cradle, each plant a whisper of purpose restored. In the early morning, dew pearls along the rim. By afternoon, the leaves reach forward to greet the light. Their scent hangs gently in the air, reminding us that beauty can serve as well as it stirs. The limewash cracks faintly with time, the letters fade a little, and the whole piece grows older the way we hope to, gracefully, honestly. It's not about building walls to separate, but to grow upon. Each plant softens what was once hard. Each curve of metal holds something alive. Stand close, brush your hand along the edge. Feel the coolness of steel and the warmth of sunlight merging in one gesture. In that moment, even the smallest yard feels generous, filled with breath, color, and patience. And just beyond this wall, a swing begins to move with the wind. Four, root swing seat. Beneath the hush of leaves, a single swing waits. Its seat carved from a root once hidden deep in the soil, now curved like a smile, polished to a quiet sheen. The ropes rise upward, disappearing into branches that cradle both sky and time. When the wind moves, it breathes softly, and for a moment the world feels weightless again. This swing does not belong to children alone. It belongs to anyone who remembers stillness, who wants to feel the earth give gentle beneath their feet. The seat is smooth, the rope steady, the air scented with grass and sun-warmed wood. Here, memories stretch their arms wide, back to afternoons that never hurried, laughter that needed no reason, sunlight that didn't care for hours. Each sway is a rhythm older than us, the same motion that rocks branches and rivers alike. A recycled root, a few strong ropes. And suddenly, joy feels handmade again. When you step off, the swing keeps moving, slow and calm, as if it knows it has lifted something invisible. The day's weight, the noise of the world, the edge of forgetting. Now, listen closely. Beyond the laughter, metal begins to hum and firelight dances within a barrel. Five, barrel grill with wraparound laser Susan rim. At the center of a humble patio, an old steel drum finds its second flame. Its black enamel catches the shimmer of sunset while the rim, hand-carved wood, smooth as river stone, spins slowly like a clock without numbers. The scent of rosemary and charcoal drifts upward. Laughter folds into the smoke. Around this barrel, the air itself seems warmer. This isn't just a grill, it's a small act of community. Here, every turn of the laser Susan rim is a gesture of sharing. Bread passed, herbs offered, stories traded between the glow and the gathering dusk. The barrel hums softly, metal remembering its fireborn past. The wood around it whispers calm, cooling each ember with its patient circle. When night deepens, the fire burns low but never lonely. The rim glints gold in the lantern light, plates empty, hearts full. What began as scrap now carries the rhythm of conversation, the kind that doesn't need perfection, only presence. In this glow, transformation isn't about craft, it's about connection. Even steel learns to soften when surrounded by warmth. As the fire fades, another kind of light begins to rise. Quiet, gentle, and shaped like roots reaching for the stars. Six, Root coffee table with bottle glow well. In the heart of the garden, light rests inside wood. A single bottle, frosted and faintly golden, hums beneath the curve of an old root, its branches long gone, yet its memory intact. The root has been turned upward, its rough hands now cupping a quiet flame. Upon it, a glass of tea catches the glow, and the table breathes like something alive. This small creation feels less like furniture and more like a heartbeat made visible. The bottle's glow is not bright, it's patient. It touches the edges of moss, the rim of your cup, the lines of your palms. Beneath it, years of soil and rain sleep within the wood grain, whispering of storms weathered and seasons turned. In daylight, the root stands proud and sculptural, solid, grounded, almost ancient. But when the sun leaves, its center opens into light, reminding us that warmth is not only fire, but intention. To build something like this is to gather the fragments of time, root, bottle, light, and let them speak in one language, stillness. And when the glow fades, we turn our gaze to another rhythm, 3 simple drums, stacked like echoes, blooming upward into life. Seven, Drum trio planters. They stand like quiet guardians, 3 simple drums, painted in a soft descent of color. From deep charcoal to mist white, they hold not only soil, but balance, height, rhythm, and breath. Together, they anchor the garden, guiding the eye upward, then grounding it gently back to earth. Each drum tells its own story. The tallest carries lavender and rosemary, plants that crave light. The middle holds marigolds, bold and sun-loving. The smallest shelters mint, low and fragrant. Their hues shift with the hours, morning pale, noon bright, dusk warm as firelight on steel. What makes them beautiful isn't their symmetry, it's their cooperation. A trio that mirrors the cadence of life itself. Rise, rest, renew. The metal once held oil, now it cradles roots. What was sealed now breathes. What was discarded now gives life back in greens and blossoms. Even the paint seems to remember, fading from darkness to calm, like night turning into day. Stand beside them, and you'll notice how your own breathing slows, matching their quiet pulse. Just beyond, the ground softens again. Roots stretch along the soil, weaving borders where moss and memory meet. Eight, Root border with micromoss pockets. The earth has its own handwriting, and here it's written in roots. They twist and weave along the edge of the path, holding soil the way fingers hold a keepsake. Between them, moss unfurls in quiet bursts of green, soft as breath, steady as time. What began as fallen wood becomes the boundary between wildness and care. There's no straight line here. The roots curve where the ground dips, rise where stones press, and rest where flowers lean. Each one carries the marks of age, cracks, rings, and the dark sheen of years beneath rain. Yet they cradle new life, moss shimmering like velvet under morning dew. Together they make the garden feel older and gentler, as if it remembers every footstep that ever passed. And when the sun sets, their shadows braid across the path, a reminder that not every wall must be built to divide. Some can simply hold the story in place. In these borders, beauty is not planned, it's allowed. And the smallest patch of moss can turn an edge of soil into a poem you walk beside. Follow the curve, and soon you'll find rest. A half-circle bench waiting beneath the evening light. Nine, half-moon drum bench. Half a circle, half a story, yet complete in its quiet way. An old drum once meant for noise now serves silence, its metal curve softened by a cushion stitched with care. Set beneath a tree or against a wall, the bench holds the shape of pause, a place where hands rest, thoughts settle, and the air hums gently through the garden. The curve invites closeness. Two people can sit without words, sharing the same horizon. The steel remembers its weight, the cushion forgives it. Together, they make peace, strength and softness, history and renewal. When evening comes, light brushes across the rim, turning black enamel to bronze. The seat glows faintly, touched by lantern reflections. Every scratch on the drum becomes a line of character, proof that beauty grows through use, not avoidance. It is not the grandest piece, but perhaps the most human, sturdy, imperfect, welcoming. To sit here is to feel the day's edges round off, the way metal once did beneath patient hands. And nearby, another barrel waits, its lid lifted not for comfort, but for purpose, a quiet drum turned into a living cycle of compost and renewal. Ten, mini compost drum. It doesn't hum, or glow, or steal attention, yet it may be the most powerful object in the garden. This small drum, dark and unassuming, holds transformation itself. Inside, yesterday's leaves, coffee grounds, and fruit skins begin their quiet labor, turning what was waste into the soft black heartbeat of life, soil. The lid opens with a small creak, the scent of earth escaping like a promise. The air is warm, rich, alive. A charcoal vent whispers balance, keeping the rhythm steady, letting the breath of decay become the breath of growth. Here, nothing ends, it only changes form. The metal remembers its strength, the wood remembers its patience. Together they keep time with nature's oldest task, renewal. No machines, no noise, just the slow turning of what we've forgotten into what we'll need again. And when your hands scoop the first handful of dark compost, you'll feel it, the proof that beauty and purpose can share the same space. This is more than a bin, it's the garden's heartbeat hidden in plain sight. And when the day softens, follow that rhythm upward, a root mirror catching twilight and reflecting the world's quiet grace back to you. (11) Root-framed mirror. It catches light the way memory catches time, quietly, without asking to. Among roots that once buried themselves deep in the soil, a mirror now leans, framed in their wild embrace. The wood twists like frozen motion, holding a reflection that is never the same twice. Morning shows dew and sky, afternoon, the dance of leaves, at night, a hint of stars. Each curve of the root softens the mirror's edge, turning glass into something gentler, almost alive. Along its surface, faint etchings bloom, a pattern of branches and wings, so that birds see safety, not open air. Function becomes poetry, protection disguised as design. Stand before it, and you'll notice how your reflection mingles with the garden behind you. You become part of it, half human, half horizon. The mirror doesn't simply return your image. It lends you the calm that only growing things can give. The roots remember what it means to hold the earth. The glass remembers what it means to hold light. Together, they remind us to look gently, because even reflection can nurture. And beyond that reflection, sound returns. A quiet trickle of rain falling into metal, awakening another drum now reborn as a chain of water and song. "12. Drum Rain Chain Collector Bowl." Rain begins as a whisper, then a rhythm. It travels down the chain like music strung through metal, each droplet a note, each pause a breath. Below, a half drum waits, its surface trembling under every fall. The water gathers, swirls, reflects the muted light of the sky. There's something deeply human about the sound, gentle, repetitive, never hurried. The bowl does not catch the rain to keep it, only to honor its passing. What once stored oil or dust now collects sky. What once felt heavy now sings. The edges darken with moss, the base cool with moisture. Sometimes a leaf drifts in, spinning slowly, joining the rain's circular conversation. In dry days, it becomes a mirror again, still, silver, remembering motion. Stand near it when the weather turns soft. Listen. You'll hear patience made audible. The chain and bowl, both born of industry, have learned the language of calm. They don't resist the storm, they harmonize with it. When the clouds clear, the air feels rinsed, lighter. And in that silence after rain, the garden holds its breath, waiting for the next song. Follow the shimmer of that sound, and you'll find another kind of music. Glass, roots, and bottles catching the last light of day. "13. Bottle plus drum slice edging." Along the garden's edge, rhythm takes shape, not in sound, but in light. Here, old glass bottles and thin slices of steel drum trade places like notes on a staff, each catching the sun in a slightly different key. The glass hums with color, the metal hums with time. Together they mark the boundary not as a line of control, but as a quiet celebration of order and wildness. Every bottle still carries a ghost of its past, a faint tint of amber, green, or blue, now filled with sunlight instead of drink. The metal, dulled by age, gleams softly against the soil, each curve a small echo of the moon. Between them, moss finds a home, and the air flickers gently as the day turns. This border does more than hold the garden in place. It teaches balance, between reflection and earth, between permanence and decay. And as evening settles, the bottles glow one last time, each like a small memory lit from within. The path becomes music for the eyes, a measure of color and shadow leading quietly onward. And ahead, that path ends where calm begins. A shallow basin of stone, root, and feather where birds return to drink at dusk. (14) Root Birdbath on Pebble Plinth. At the heart of the garden, still water waits. Not for reflection, but for arrival. A single root rises from the ground like an open hand, holding a shallow basin of stone. The bowl trembles softly when the wind sighs, and the light folds itself into its surface. Soon, the first guest appears, a small bird, pausing between sky and earth to drink. The root, once buried, now offers what it once received. Its gnarled texture cradles the weight of the bowl with quiet grace. Beneath it, a bed of rounded pebbles glimmers faintly, each one holding a fragment of sunlight and rain. It's a meeting place, between the grounded and the fleeting, the silent and the singing. The ripples spread outward, touching stone, air, and time, before fading into calm. There is no sound too small here. Even the wings that leave behind a few drops on the rim are part of the story, proof that kindness can be built from what once was root and rubble. As dusk falls, the last of the light pools in the basin, and for a moment, the garden seems to breathe. And when night deepens, small lights bloom nearby, bottles reborn as glowing lanterns in the dark. (15) Bottle Lantern Grove. As daylight exhales its last breath, the garden begins to glow. Not from bulbs or wires, but from bottles, once empty, now filled with light. Each rests on a cradle of roots, lifted gently from the earth as if the trees themselves wanted to hold the evening in their hands. The glass hums softly, amber and gold, warming the air with quiet radiance. It's here, among these lanterns, that time slows. The light flickers across moss and stone, across the memory of what these objects once were. Discarded, dull, forgotten. Now they pulse gently, alive again. A rhythm of warmth in a world that's learning to see beauty in its second chances. The bottles don't compete with the stars. They join them. Their glow is humble, human, close to the ground, where life happens. Every shimmer catches a leaf, a petal, a breath, and turns it into a moment worth keeping. In the hush of night, the garden feels like it's listening to the sound of renewal, to the slow, tender heartbeat of creation itself. And as the lights steady and fade, the circle is complete. Root, drum, glass, and hand, all returning the gift of life to the quiet earth. If one idea whispered your name today, let me know which corner you'll transform first. I'll reply with a simple layout, plants, lights, and finishes that suit your space. If this inspired you, subscribe for next week's episode and watch the video on bottles, borders cued on screen. Until then, may your small space shine softly, daylight honest, night light magical.